Hey there, it's Pete over at the Sampleist, and today we are checking out Trails from Fracture Sounds. Fracture Sounds have teamed up with violinist and composer Alexander Parsons to bring us Trails, a library full of evocative soundscapes and sonic mystery. With a combination of experimental violin and cello performances with synths and granular synthesis, Trails is a perfect tool for cinematic scoring, contemporary orchestra, and of course experimental music. With sounds like no other, Trails is perfect for beautiful string textures and unique performances. Trails downloads at 12 gigabytes and it requires a free contact player to run. It is also NKS compatible. It currently sells for £89 on intro offer and it will go up to £129 thereafter. I'd like to take the opportunity to thank Fracture Sounds for sending over a copy of Trails so we could make this video. I've been lucky enough to spend quite a few hours with this library and I feel like I can give you a really good in-depth look at what this library has to offer. And of course, in true Sampleist style, we will be also looking at a composition that I've made and talking about what is the experience like to compose with it. While we do get our libraries sent to us for free, it does in no way cloud our thoughts, ideas or judgments on the library. And furthermore, we don't make any financial gain from making these videos. We don't have affiliate links, we don't have any kind of advertising deals going on. We just make these videos for the love of the community and of course to showcase the brilliant work of the developers. If you do want to support the channel, please consider subscribing to us because of course it just spreads our work that little bit further. Without further ado, let's check out Trails. And here we have Trails from Fracture Sounds and Alexander Parsons loaded up in the Native Instruments Complete Control Player. Don't be confused by the layout. I've gone for a more traditional contact view for this video. However, this is all bells and whistles, NKS integration. I've got all the light guides going, the nice little screen on my lovely spanking new S61 Mark III controller, and it's working beautifully well. On the left hand side you can see what Trails at the top, and then I do have plenty of other Fracture Sounds libraries. I was picking these up years ago. I use them so often and Fracture Sounds just make libraries that I keep reaching for. In fact, yesterday I was writing for my publishers and I used the Midnight Grand yet again. It is one of my favourite pianos. So a great catalogue of libraries to check out, but we're talking about Trails and it is a fantastic addition to the Fracture Sounds libraries. Now, of course, it looks beautiful. The GUI is amazing. We're going to dive more into that in a moment. The instruments, we have the solo violin textures, the solo cello textures, and then we have solo violin and cello textures combined. We've got the Faulkner Dulcichord or Dulcichord, how you pronounce it. It's a very, very unique piano-based instrument, I believe. Sounds wonderful. We're going to check that out. They've got some synths, granular patches, and then we've got some lightweight granular patches. So we're going to start off at the top with the violin. I'm just going to play the first articulation, which is emergence. I'm just going to see what that sounds like out of the box. And of course, I'm using the mod wheel to control CC1. Okay, so these are performances, and you can hear there's a generous amount of reverb. We've got the Fracture Sound atmospheres in the background going on. The intensity is quite low at the moment, which is great. But yeah, very, very cool. So I'm using the mod wheel to adjust dynamics and the atmosphere intensity. It sounds beautiful out the box, and yeah, just these performances, the longer you hold them, the more they evolve. I was going to say evolving they become. So we've got some flickers next. They sound great. So you can hear these are performances. Now, I was playing two hands there, so of course you can bring them in using the mod wheel. But I absolutely love just playing two hand, then automating the mod wheel later. Now, let's talk about reverb very, really quickly. You can hear there is a generous reverb. All of these effects at the top can be controlled. So I'm just going to change the reverb away from a shimmer. If we listen to a hall, it sounds like this. So you can hear it's a bit more dry. And then, of course, you can go to room, which is even more dry. Now that's very important, especially when I load the cello, and you'll see why in a moment. It sounds amazing with the shimmer on, don't get me wrong, but I'm just going to go to the hall, so we have some reverb, but not overbearing reverb, so you can really appreciate the samples. Now let's go for the divergence. So I'm playing single notes there, as opposed to chords. So I do play a chord, so I did start with the C major chord. It's very interesting texture. If I just play a single note. So yeah, you can hear the change in texture. If I just play single notes of the flickers as well. So again, that sounds different to the chords. I'll do the same for the emergence as well. So single notes. And I do love playing these in octaves. But chords is okay too. Yeah, superb. So let's go for ricochets. And that's where you can hear the atmosphere. Yeah, they sound cool. Now, talk about atmospheres. You can actually turn off the raw sound, so the instrument, so you get just the atmosphere. Which is great for pad work, and you can click on different types of atmospheres. I think I'll just turn the same, like, yeah, one we had earlier back on. Let's try that. And I can probably be quoted saying if they could turn these sounds into an instrument, so a pad instrument, then that'd be amazing. But of course we do have synths in this library, so it's kind of there. But you can turn these off if you want to and have just the raw sound. Excuse me. Okay, so you got lots of options, and of course if you turn it all off, nothing happens. Lovely. Let's just go back to turning everything on. In fact, I'm going to reload the library. There we go. Let's go for the short swells. There we go. Let's go for the stutters. I just love that reverb. Reflections. And they've got deviations. So again, I'm going to play some single notes. I'll change the reverb back to hall. Absolutely beautiful. Now, of course, you can change the controls of each of these performances, so the volume, the panning, the attack, and the release, which is very useful. So if I do that on deviations, lovely. Let's say I want to pan it to the left. I'll pan it to the right. Then you can adjust the attack. And the release. So I'll take my finger off and that keeps going. And that's a really sudden stop. You can hear that the atmosphere reacts to that as well. Just keeps going. You can go for a bite, come back, and that one will still be singing. Lovely stuff. So that is the solo violin, and I've talked about the controls of the instrument. So I'm going to save this options cogwheel for the solo teletextures. I think I said tele, I meant cello. It has been a long day. Now I'm loading this up on from an SSD, and it loads really, really quickly. So just sort of drag and drop. Now we've got the cello, so I'm just going to go down an octave. It's absolutely beautiful. So we've got the same articulations, as you can see. Now I said the reverb is really, really important to double check, because when I load in the violin, we're actually set to shimmer. Which does sound gorgeous. When we load in the cello, we're actually set to the hall, I believe. No, it's room, so I'm going to change to hall. When I was composing, so I've done the composition already, that really threw me, because I couldn't work out, I've got this amazing ambience going on, and then the cello sounds a lot drier, but that is exactly the reason. Now, I'm not sure it's just because of my version of Trails. This is a pre-release version, I will just add. So I've not updated it, so that might be fixed up, I don't know. But yeah, Now I've changed it to room, so we just heard emergence. Let's check out the flickers. It's very murder mystery. Mr. Plum hit with a candlestick, battered. Divergence. I don't know what's going on. It's been a very long day today. I think what we can all agree on, these sound incredible. Then we've got the ricochets. Beautiful. Short swells. Stutters. Love it. And deviations. I'm actually going to try and not play it in D minor or D major for this example. It's like the musical world is my oyster. Yeah, it's good stuff. And of course, I'm not using the mod wheel, so I'm using two hands, but if I go for the mod wheel, I mean, it's texture plus. It just sounds amazing. And of course, with the atmospheres going on as well. Brilliant. So these are the solo cello performances. Now, if I click on the cogwheel, you can adjust things like the tightness, which is actually quite important when you are composing. I did find myself doing this, but then I end up just doing negative delay on my tracks. But there we go. And then you got noise, like lo-fi always on. Got the key switch range. So all the articulations are key switchable. And then, of course, got dynamic range. And again, another reason I love the fact that this is NKS compatible is because it really taps into the dynamic settings that you have on your controller if you are a Native Instruments complete control user, or just control user as they're called. So, now that's those two patches. If I load up the combination patches, so again, we've got exactly the same going on, and then we can play a nice game of guess the reverb. I'm pretty sure it's Shimmer, and it's going to sound stunning out the box. I mean, how interesting and exciting and character rich are those performances? And obviously with the atmospheres, the reverbs, the effects, I wasn't even using the mod wheel, and that just sounds stunning. I love it. And obviously you can combine this with the more traditional string section, but you know, you're not going to get these performances anywhere else. And that's what makes Trails a really, really wonderful library to use. So I go to Divergence. I keep moving the mouse around. Lovely. Ricochets. So something cool, if you hold down the first ricochet, so I'm playing an F, I've got a C, so I'm just playing a fifth. You can hear the atmosphere underneath, so turn it to an F major 7. It's beautiful. I want to get that C. There it is. I'm having a lot of fun doing this one today. Yeah, gorgeous. And then we've got short swells. Sounds like a soundtrack to an avant-garde Steven Seagal movie. Love it. Stutters. Reflections. And then finally deviations. It's beautiful. Now, let's load up. So the GUI isn't going to change size, but we're going to have a little gap down here. So we've got the Faulkner Dulcichord, or Dulcichord. This, I'm just going to play it. It's going to get the sustain pedal. So it sounds a little bit like an electric piano, a little bit harpsichordy. Yeah, it sounds wonderful. A bit like a toy piano as well in certain places. That bang incidentally, that's my. I just Said it. The sustain pedal. There we go. It moves around quite a lot. Yeah, so it's not part of the instrument, but this is gorgeous. Now, of course, you can adjust the reverbs. I'm using the sustain pedal apart from the fact I'm playing it like a piano. It has the atmospheres kicking in the background. And you've got a few different sounds. So we can adjust the colour. Sort of brighter, more muted. Just the stereo width. I like it quite wide. Timbre shift. If there's ever a Teabag revival, if you've ever seen that, Adventures of Teabag. Teabag in, what was it? I can't remember what it's called now. The Revenge of the Tea Set. There we go. It's very Teabag. Children's TV, 80s, Channel 3. Yeah, it's got that mystery. Oh, I love it. I absolutely love it. Then you got broken tuning as well. Let's go bring the timbre back. Beautiful. So you can create some really cool lo-fi things. So I've combined it with the lo-fi. Yeah, that sounds so cool. So there we go. We've got key noise. So also no key noise. Lots of key noise. Again, stunning. So lo-fi I've covered. I'll play the lo-fi effect on its own. Of course, you want that swell. You can assign that to a MIDI CC, which I will. I've got a spare one over here. Lovely. You can unlearn that as well. Yeah. Delay. Again, I'm going to try and play a different key. Lovely. So that sounds wonderful. I'm glad that I played a wrong note there because I just realised I was going into a famous song. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. And then we have, so just bring the controls down. We've got the synths. Now, the synths are really, really straightforward. You'll notice there's no synth preset, so you can click around and do all this kind of thing. The mod wheel acts as a crossfade between the three synth layers. Which I really like. And then, of course, you can adjust different things like the octaves, but you can change the layer of what it's doing. So you can see these loading. small RAM footprint as well. Very, very cool. So the mod wheel is a must when you're going through these. Okay, now we have all these different controls down here. We've got attack, delay, sustain, release. We've got low pass filter, high pass filter. We've got the lo-fi dial. Some cool lo-fi pads. Got delay and we've got reverb as well. And again, all of these you can control yourself. What is really, really fun for me, because sometimes I can be a bit lazy, and as much as we have all of these lovely layers that we can use, I like clicking randomize buttons and seeing what happens. And that sounds gorgeous. I kind of found the sweet spot. But that evolution. It's lovely stuff. So that's the synth. So yeah. You could use those all day long, and why wouldn't you? Then we've got the granular sounds, and this is really, really interesting. So I love granular synthesis. I love, I'm trying to think, I use Omnisphere so much for granular synthesis, and you're seeing this appear more and more in libraries, especially contact libraries, and this sounds gorgeous. And you have all of these different controls going on, and again you got different effects, having the waveform, and then knowing how you can adjust the sample and where it starts and ends. Should be able to move that around and just pull out these really, really cool sounds. Now you can adjust the layer, which I think is so cool. So if one uses a synth sound, for example, let's click on it. Let's use a soft synth. Delay blips. So you've got these cool granular sounds. You can adjust the intensity on the mod wheel. Soft tone. So we've got this new granular engine that Fracture Sound have incorporated into this instrument, and I think it is absolutely superb. So let's take one of the divergence articulations or performances. And this is why I say this is great for contemporary scoring as well. So you're not just bound by the cello and violin. You've got so many different timbres and textures you can use. Wonderful. I'm getting 80s sci-fi vibes there. So you can spend ages just playing around these, and of course, because there's no presets, you can just save your own preset in Contact, so you can recall it any time you want. But the Granular engine is, yeah, brilliant. And Fracture Sound have actually put in the lightweight patches. Now, I haven't noticed any intensity on my CPU really, or any stress, but obviously it's really nice to have different granular presets. Okay. I just realized at the top here there are presets for the granular side. I don't know why I missed that when I was playing through the library first time, but hey, this is what happens when we create these this content. And I'm sure Fracture Sound are watching the video and going, but we have got presets, but I didn't find them. But now we do. So let's just click on a preset. Oh no. Yeah, that's so good. Yeah, so I was having a lot of fun. It's kind of like I found another facet to the instrument I didn't realise. I was so just keen to like mess around with the different parameters of the granular. I just didn't think to look at that. Yeah, sounds brilliant. So we've got all of these different presets to play with. There you go. In my defense, I've always used the older version of Complete Control. So I'm used to just loading up the presets on the left here. It's so cool they're up here. I've got to get used to this. So there we go. I'm going to look at synths again. Just very, very quickly. And just see if there's any presets on the synths as well. No, there aren't, which is what threw me, I guess. Well, it didn't. Everything threw me. Yeah, and if I go on to just the standard granular patches, yeah, they're all up there as well. So that's really, really useful. Now, I just think the instrument is fantastic. Just all the sounds contained within. And obviously, in true Sampleist style, we create a composition. And I had a lot of fun, and I've used only Fracture Sounds instruments to create my composition. So I have used, I believe I went for the Woodchester piano, which I absolutely love. I've used many, many instances of trails to try and show it off, and Glacier keys as well. It's one of my secret weapons. Absolutely love that, especially the soft preset setting. My idea behind the composition was to showcase the instruments fairly dry and then gradually bring in the atmosphere and the reverb, so you got this really, really big sound, because I think Fracture Sounds just do that whole ambience and reverb so incredibly well. Without further ado, let's check out my Trails demo, and then we're going to talk about what it is like to compose with. This is exactly why I love using Fracture Sounds instruments in my composing work. They sound stunning, and they've taken a basic composition, so basic chords, melody, structure, and just turned it into this thing of absolute beauty. And there's other Fracture Sounds instruments I could have thrown in, like Petrichor, which I use a lot, that came out at the end of last year, and Midnight Grand. I did have Hemisphere working at one point, which is their guitar library. And I took that out because there was a lot of ambience going on already, and that was kind of pushing the ambience to the next level. And I want to focus obviously on trails. So the blue instruments, as you can see on the left hand side, are the string elements from trails. So I'll split the violins into different articulations and the cellos, and obviously there is a little bit of combined sounds there as well. And I've also put the synths in there as well, so you can see I've just called it random, so I hit the randomize button, I loved it, and then I've got a bass synth which is a little bit lower, so a little bit sort of miscombobulated, shall we say, but that's what we have in the blue section. And then we have the Faulkner Dulcichord, which I've used in a very, very curious way, so I'm going to explain that in a moment. And then one of my go-to pianos, the Woodchester, it is amazing. And then a secret weapon, the Glacier Keys, and yes, it is the soft preset, which I use a lot. And it just builds and evolves. So it starts off with the emergence articulation on the cello. So I'm just going to play us that. It's absolutely stunning, and that holds down the low end for the majority of the piece until the synth bass comes in. And then of course I've used the Woodchester piano and just playing some really, really simple melodies and chords. So in tandem, they just work beautifully. I did mute the other instruments. The piano on its own, like I say, just sounds absolutely gorgeous. And what Fracture Sounds really get right is all the ambience and the sounds and the key notes and like mechanical sounds of the instrument. I love it, and you can hear it in the cello as well. It sounds like creaking of the wood. It's just absolutely alive. I think it's fantastic. Now, I wanted to throw in the flickers, and I decided to do these in octaves. So I split the cello and the violin, and they're just playing this flickers articulation. So context with emergence, that's that's exactly how it all works together. Now the Faulkner Dulcichord, so if I play that on its own, so I've gone into the instrument and added lots of reverb and ambience, and then when you combine it with the Woodchester, because I wanted this ambience to build, you go from a sort of dry-ish sound, so I still got the ambient settings on the Woodchester piano going on, but you go from this to this. Now that is all kinds of beautiful, and the Faulkner Dulcichord isn't playing exactly what the Worcester piano is playing, because obviously the key range is different. It's a lot smaller than the Worcester piano, so it's only playing part of the notes, part of the melody, part of the harmony, and it just works. And then I put on a high melody line as well. And then if I take out the Worcester, so you hear just the Faulkner Dulcichord. If I would jump ahead. That's gorgeous stuff. Love it. And then I've added Glessier keys, so it's a soft setting. Sounds like this. So even more ambience and reverb going on there. And then we come to the final section. So I've added these two synths. So one was a bass synth that I just changed a layer to, and one is the random one. I didn't quantize them at all. I just played them in, and I like the sort of movement they bring. So just playing this last section of everything in together. Lovely. And the synth, I just wanted to go higher. It sounds very, very angelic. So we just finish off with this climbing line. And yeah, that is our piece. Gorgeous. And of course I've automated a fade out on the master at the top there, because those reverbs would go on for quite a while. Absolutely love it. Yeah, I mean, I've not used every articulation going. There are lots of different articulations that could go in there, but I always take the approach of I just want to use what fits and try and get with other instruments, especially a piano, and putting it to arrangement. Yeah, it just fits absolutely beautifully. There is so much you can do with trails, and just the additions it's going to give your composing palette are absolutely fantastic. Is it easy to use? Yeah, it's easy to use. I think it's on the emergence that I used some negative delay. I went up to 200 at one point. And then I brought it down to, I think it's 120, 130. I can't see too well these days, so I can't be sure. But yeah, again, it just fits really well. You don't necessarily have to. I just wanted the also like the string swell to come in a little bit sooner, so that's why I did that. But I didn't really need to on any other tracks particularly. I did my own panning, obviously, and just threw my master chain plugins on, and it just sounds wonderful. So yeah, composing experience is superb. This brings us to the closing thoughts section of the video. What do I think about Trails? Do I recommend it? Well, I've already said the composing experience with Trails was absolutely wonderful. It feels great, it's responsive, it's easy to use. The sounds it produces are just fabulous. And again, these are going to add different articulations, different colors, different sounds to your composing palette. So yeah, that is brilliant. But then we're talking about an £89 library. It's on sale at the moment. Obviously it goes up to £129 after the intro price ends. The content you get is brilliant. You get the violins, you get the cellos, all the different performances, the articulations. Then you've got the synths, and you've got the 3-layer synth approach, and you can crossfade through them using CC1. Lovely. And then of course you've got the granular content, and yes, I made a faux pas earlier in the video, and I don't mind. I've left it in because no one's perfect, especially when you're working through different instruments. And yeah, I turned off the recording and just listened to more granular content, and it does sound incredible. So you got to think about, what are you getting when you list all those instruments, and then you get the Faulkner Dulcichord on top of it, which is an instrument that I've never even thought about using in a composition, and I just found a really, really amazing way to do it. And you get all the atmospheres, you get all the effects controls, the reverbs are stunning. And I will say it again, I felt like I was being a little bit mean. I didn't mean to be, in case it came across that way about Let's Play Guess the Reverb. I have a pre-release copy of the library. But even if I don't, and you do load at the violins, you got shimmer, then you load at the cellos and you got room, it doesn't matter, you just change it while you compose. It makes no difference. But I'm pretty sure that's probably something that might have been patched, possibly, or maybe not. I don't mind. It's not a big deal. It got me to explore the reverbs, which I found to be very, very useful. I didn't even talk about the copy reverb either, or show examples of that. But yeah, having all of these built-in effects just shows you can just build up these amazing textures. And if you go onto the Fracture Sounds website, the first demo, I believe, is just Trails on its own, and it is mind-blowing what you can do with this library on its own. But for me, I compose lots of music like this, and it just works wonderfully well. It really, really speaks to me, this library. I think Fracture Sounds have done it again. They've created something that is unique, it's different, but also incredibly usable, and it's just going to enhance your work. What more can I say? Do I recommend it? Yes, go out and get it today. Get it on the intro price. You know, bag yourself a saving, as it were. But even if you don't, £129 is an absolute bargain for the amount of content you get. And there we go. Now, I'd like to take the opportunity to thank Fracture Sounds once again for sending over a copy of Trails so we can make this video. And of course, I really appreciate that being sent over ahead of time so I can spend plenty of time working with the library. If you like what you heard, feel free to leave a like on the video, and of course a comment. What do you think about Trails? Have you picked it up already? Are you thinking about picking it up? How have you been using it? We'd love to get a conversation going on about this brilliant library. And then, of course, if you've not done so already, please subscribe to the channel. I've already mentioned that we make no financial gain from making these videos. It is, you know, there's no advertising, no affiliate links. It is just us loving showcasing the work of the developers and hopefully spreading the word to the wonderful composing community about these brilliant instruments. That's all we're here for. So if you hit that subscribe button, it just really drives us to keep on creating this content. So until next time, have a great day and keep making that wonderful, gorgeous, beautiful music.